In the opening scene of the movie, we meet a young girl named Clara, who is joyfully watching a train display on a beautiful holiday morning. Just then, she hears her grandfather's voice from inside, as they are playing hide and seek. Excitedly, Clara hides so he can seek her. Eventually, her grandfather finds her in her hiding spot, and the two share a delightful bonding moment, seemingly wishing it would never end. Afterward, Clara has a brief conversation with her old man. As they chat lightheartedly, they spot a shooting star. Grandpa encourages Clara to make a wish, but what could she possibly wish for? He tells her to wish from her heart's desires. Little Clara complies, wishing to spend every Christmas with her grandfather. It's a heartwarming exchange, and they hug each other, hoping the moment will last forever. The scene then shifts to Clara as an adult. She is leaving her apartment for work and pauses to glance at a framed photograph of herself and her grandfather from that memorable night. The night she had seen the shooting star and wished that their time together would never end, even pleading for just 5 more minutes with him. That night, Clara accidentally discovers that her boyfriend, Blake, plans to propose when she sees a ring box. Feeling unready and unsure about their relationship, Clara becomes visibly uncomfortable. To make matters worse, she learns her school is cutting art programs, meaning she'll lose her teaching job at the end of the school year. The evening becomes tense, and Clara and Blake spend the rest of the night in silence. Overwhelmed, Clara decides to visit her childhood home and her mother, Bonnie. Bonnie warmly welcomes Clara and reveals she's been busy preparing the house for her arrival. Clara insists she came to help, not to burden her mother, but her mother urges her to take some time to rest. Clara is reminded of her grandfather, Jerry, and misses him deeply. She visits his old room, now empty but filled with his photos and memories. To clear her mind, Clara goes for a drive and unexpectedly runs into Logan, her high school sweetheart, at the market. Logan, now working with military families, invites Clara for coffee to catch up, but she declines, saying she's focused on helping her mother. Despite this, their brief meeting stirs old feelings. Clara later tells Bonnie about the encounter, and her mother recalls Logan fondly, though with mixed emotions. Clara begins helping her mother at the candy store, which has been difficult to manage since Jerry's passing. They decide to put up a help wanted sign to find extra help. The next day, a young man named Jay shows up, saying Jerry had told him to return in winter for a job. Clara hires him, impressed by his work ethic. While organizing the store, Jay finds an old journal belonging to Jerry and gives it to Clara. Curious, she begins reading and discovers it contains stories about her grandfather's life, including a woman named Martha. Intrigued, Clara asks Bonnie about Martha, but Bonnie doesn't recognize the name. As the store becomes busier, Jay continues to be a great help, allowing Clara and Bonnie some breathing room. Meanwhile, Clara encounters Logan again. They chat and build a gingerbread house together at the store. Before leaving, Jay mentions a tree lighting ceremony at the market. Logan seizes the opportunity to invite Clara, and she agrees despite her mother's disapproval. Bonnie believes Logan abandoned Clara when he left to join the military, and she worries about Clara seeing him while still in a relationship with Blake. The countdown for the tree lighting has begun. Everyone in the crowd is excited to see the giant tree light up. It is a glorious sight, and the audience begins cheering as soon as the lights illuminate. Afterwards, Logan and Clara continue chatting. She shares some exciting news about her grandfather's journal. The woman tells him all about Martha, the mysterious woman Grandpa Jerry had fallen in love with. Logan quickly points out that her grandfather was married to Nell. So who then is Martha? This is exactly Clara's point. This woman named Martha must have been pretty significant to Grandpa Jerry for him to have written about her in his journal. This has now become a mystery, and Clara is bent on getting to the bottom of it. She suggests that they read the journal together, in hopes of finding clues. This sounds like a plan to the man, so he agrees. Now this is where things get interesting in Grandpa's journal. Young Jerry loved Martha so much that he even asked her to attend the school dance with him. He had battled with the thought of confessing his feelings to her, but was held back by one major reason. He was joining the army, and if he mentioned it at that time, it would ruin his relationship with Martha, a situation that Clara and Logan can deeply relate to. The night ends, and the two part ways. The next day, Clara takes time to appreciate Jay for a job well done around the store. She calls him a godsend and is grateful to have someone like him around. Meanwhile, Bonnie meets Edward, a man she had previously bumped into at the market. They bond over shared experiences of loss and begin spending more time together. Meanwhile, Clara gets a call from Blake. The two haven't spoken since she arrived at her mother's place. She just claims to be handling a lot at the moment and promises to call him back when she gets the chance. Logan overhears some part of this conversation. Curious, he inquires who Blake is, and Clara reveals that he's her boyfriend. Hearing this, the man believes that whatever chances he has with her have been drastically reduced. Just then, Logan's mother arrives at the scene. The cheerful woman is beyond delighted to see Clara. She claims her son has told her so many wonderful things about her. She hopes they can reconnect soon to discuss this properly. Sadly, she has to leave to attend to some urgent matters, but she believes they will see each other again soon. Clara is all smiles as she watches the woman rush out. Just then, Logan offers to take Clara somewhere later in the night. She immediately declines, claiming to be in a committed relationship. However, Logan urges her to see their relationship as plainly platonic. She looks at the man. He is indeed charming. How could she refuse? That night, Logan takes her to a location where some of her ceiling art paintings are stored. He tells her that he brought her there to inspire her to continue creating. He wants her to see herself as a true artist, one who isn't confined to a specific style or school of thought. Instead, he encourages her to express herself freely, drawing from the creativity she carries within. As Clara continues reading Jerry's journal, she learns that Jerry had sent letters to Martha during his military service, but they were returned unopened. This revelation saddens Clara, who wonders what could have gone wrong. At the same time, Bonnie grows closer to Edward, who surprises her by admitting he runs a Vietnamese food business after initially claiming he worked in software. Bonnie finds his honesty refreshing, and they continue to enjoy each other's company. Clara also opens up to Logan, explaining that her breakup with him years ago wasn't about his military service, but her inability to cope with her father's passing at the time. Logan understands, and they begin to rebuild their connection. Clara and Logan dive deeper into Jerry's journal, learning more about his relationship with Martha and the sacrifices he made for love and duty. Inspired by her grandfather's story, Clara begins to see parallels in her own life. Clara's introspection leads her to a revelation. She realizes that, like Jerry, she's been holding herself back from fully embracing what she wants out of life, whether it's pursuing her passion for art or choosing the right person to spend her future with. This understanding begins to shift her perspective on her relationship with Blake. Although she cares for him, she knows that she isn't ready for marriage, especially not with someone who doesn't truly understand her heart. With the holiday season in full swing, Clara becomes more involved with the candy store, reconnecting with the community and finding joy in simple, meaningful moments. She spends more time with Jay, who has become an integral part of the store. Just when Clara thought things couldn't get more interesting, she discovers a letter written by Grandpa Jerry earlier in the year for Martha. Excited by this find, she rushes to Logan to share the news. The letter never reaches Martha, so Clara and Logan decide to take it upon themselves to find her and reveal the truth about how Grandpa Jerry truly felt. The search for Martha Tompkins begins. Clara looked up the name and found 9 people with that name living within a 10-mile radius. So far, they have had no luck in their search, but there is one particular Martha Tompkins they haven't yet visited. The two of them immediately make their way to her home. Unfortunately, upon arrival, they find that she is not at home. Now, they are left waiting outside, hoping she hasn't traveled for Christmas, as that would ruin their chances of ever meeting her. While they wait, Logan shares some devastating news. Just when Clara has begun to see a glimpse of a future with Logan, he reveals that he has been called back to serve. She had just realized that only Logan and Grandpa Jerry truly understand her. And now this? Clara is instantly upset. She had hoped that he could spend Christmas with her and her mom, but that's what's the point of that when he will be gone on New Year's. She changes her mind about meeting Martha and just drops the letter from Grandpa Jerry on her doorpost. Clara is visibly upset with Logan. After he drops her home, she just walks away, leaving the man standing all by himself. Inside, Clara receives an unexpected visitor, Blake. Earlier, she had called him to say they needed to talk, so he decided to come over in person. Clara gets straight to the point, politely telling her boyfriend that she doesn't see a future with him. She wishes him the best in all his endeavors. Blake takes the news well, the hug goodbye, and Blake leaves. Later, Clara discovers that young Jerry did return for the love of his life. However, when he arrived, he found out that she had moved on. She was married and had a child. Jerry felt devastated, filled with unanswered questions that he never had the chance to resolve. Did she ever receive his letters, or were they meaningless to her? On Christmas Eve, while Bonnie and her daughter are making preparations, they receive an unexpected visitor, Martha. She had seen the letter Clara left on her doorpost and decided to come by. As the 3 women sit down to talk, Martha explains that she never received young Jerry's letter, so she went ahead and got married and had children. She reveals that she is happy with her life and has heard that Jerry led a happy life as well. Much to Bonnie and Clara's surprise, Martha reveals that her parents had sent Jerry's letters back without her knowing, fearing that the relationship wouldn't last due to the war. She explains that she only learned the truth much later in life. The two had reconnected and communicated for a while. This revelation shocks Clara. Although they had planned to meet, Jerry passed away before they could reunite. Clara had a wish to spend 5 more minutes with her grandpa. Miraculously, a shooting star granted her wish. It turns out that Jay, her employee at the store, had been young Jerry, her grandpa all along. That night, they sat down together and talked. Clara shared her experiences with Martha and expressed her longing for her grandpa, Jerry and Martha, to be reunited. She missed him deeply and had always drawn strength and inspiration from him. As Clara spoke, Jay began to tear up. He spoke to her with kindness and tenderness, offering her comfort through his words. Eventually, he excused himself, saying it was Christmas Eve and everyone should be with their loved ones. As he left, Clara noticed an envelope containing photos of young Martha and Jerry. That's when it hit her. Jay was Grandpa Jerry. She rushed outside, but all she could find were his footprints in the snow and the sight of a shooting star. Without hesitation, Clara rushes to Logan and confesses her true feelings for him. She has learned from Grandpa Jerry and Martha's love story the importance of giving love a chance while you still can. At Logan's front porch, she declares that wherever he goes, she will follow him. In that tender moment, they share a heartfelt kiss. The following day, Clara informs her mother that she will be submitting applications to schools around town so she can be closer to both her mother and Logan. It truly is a Merry Christmas, as Clara and Logan are now together as a couple, along with Bonnie and Edward.